Good morning. We are back live right here on Facebook from the Bellagio Hotel, bringing you some of the highlights of this year's conference. I'm joined now by Lori Jean Glass. She has a great topic for us today. Just at 10:30, you want to head on over to the Da Vinci Room, number 1. She's going to be talking about number two. We don't want to mix that up. She's going to be talking about relational freedom, getting off the crazy train. What is that about?
Well, it is about getting out of those crazy relationships where you feel like you are completely destabilized and it is altering your life. Like crisis moments, situations where you find yourself in a relational crisis and you don't know how you got there, let alone how to get off.
Now, are we talking about male and female? Are we talking about love relationships or any type of relationship in your life that could have gotten you off course?
Really, any type of relationship. Really, any type of relationship. I work a lot of times with people that are really challenged in the work environment because they might have a supervisor or a boss that might be really controlling, and they might have grown up in a very engulfed environment with a helicopter mom and not able to find their voice at their own place of employment. So it can actually become a crazy train in a lot of different kinds of relationships.
Crazy train. I could totally understand that because relationships can drive you crazy. So what will people take away from your workshop? Are you going to give them tools to identify if they're in a toxic relationships, or what will they get out of your session?
Well, I think anyone that's in one knows it because they feel it inside of themselves, you know. I think that what hopefully they'll get out of it, depending on why they're there, right? If it's a clinician, hopefully they'll find a way that they can speak to it with their client in a way where their client can understand that they really understand what's going on. And the tools that they'll be getting is a way that they can move them away from that relationship without it being so black and white, and so it doesn't repeat itself. Because the number one challenge with people with these kinds of relationships is that they just end up repeating it again because they don't really fully understand the connection between the origin, the old feelings that are the current actions that are being taken place.
So really today we're going to help people, clinicians and people who are dealing with this, break that cycle and figure out how to get past that.
That's right. And a lot of good clinicians know that. I think what they'll find helpful is some of the languaging they can use so that their client really feels like they're being seen and heard. And then also a process they can go through that's a little bit different depending on the clinician and their style of what they're doing. I mean, if somebody does CBT versus somebody that does somatic experiencing, I mean, there's so many different ways to help somebody obtain behavioral change that this kind of stuff is adaptable to all of that.
Okay, that's really good to know. And one of the things I want to talk about is a little bit more about your background, because this is something that I can tell you're very passionate about.
Oh, yeah.
So people, want to know a little bit more about you. How did you get into this, and why are you so passionate about this topic and getting people off that crazy train?
Well, because I wrote it for a couple of decades in my life. I mean, I'm 55 years old now, and I got sober. I'll have 20 years March 3rd. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. And when I was 3 years sober, I was riding the crazy train. I wanted to die. I wanted to die. And the reason is because I come from a lot of attachment wounds. You know, my mother was an alcoholic. My father drowned when I was a little girl, and my mom ended up, killing herself when I was a teenager with drugs and alcohol, and just could never really show up in relationships without this frantic, unmet longing that breathed inside of me. And from the outside, I had this outer facade of having it all together, but this internal disintegration was killing me. I didn't know how to show up and ask for what I wanted and needed in relationships. And so it's a personal journey for me, and I've broadened it out to really help other people understand that, you can change. People can and do change, and as simple as that might sound, a lot of people don't think that they can when it comes to the relationship stuff. You can look at a substance, people with substance use disorder, and I'm not suggesting it's easy because it's not, but you can also say it is that. Mm-hmm. It is that. That is the thing that is driving me to behave like this today. But when that's all gone and it's internal, how do you take personal responsibility for that? How do you show up and have relational freedom with other people by not engulfing them, controlling them, or running away from them, because we've got the anxious side and we've got the avoidance side. I mean, I could talk about this.
I mean, it's really interesting, and I'm sure even clinicians could relate to this on a personal level, because many of us are probably dealing with relational issues and how to deal with that and process that. And to be able to share your story, first of all, we want to congratulate you. 20 years is nothing to laugh at. That is, you know, we'll be 20. Well, still, we're close. That is to be commended. Yeah. And last question I want to ask you is, what does it mean for you to be here today and to be able to share your message? You know, one, you're a testimony of, hey, you can get through this, but to share this with all of the other people here today, what does that mean to you?
Well, I'm honored. I feel absolutely honored by the process, for being invited. And anytime I can have a voice and help one individual, that's a good day. That's a good day, you know.
And today you're going to help hundreds. Yeah, so don't forget to check her out. She's going to be in Da Vinci 2 at 10:30, a great topic, something that will help a lot of people. And once again, congratulations on your success and all that you're doing to make life better for so many others.
And I wanted to say briefly before we wrap up is that, you know, it's, you know, part of why I do it too is the gift I've been given to be at Five Sisters Ranch. I just want to mention that.
That's important.
Being a part of Five Sisters Ranch, which is a place that treats relational challenges for both men and women. We opened up as just women, and now we also treat men. And, you know, it's been life-changing for so many people that have come through our doors. Yeah, and then I'm also involved in a coaching company that I own called Pivot. And people, if they want more information on that, they can go to lovedpivot.com.
And that's lovedpivot.com. And you coach people, like you said, through this as well, and doing so much and making a difference with the organizations that you're supporting. That's right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Make sure to check her out. And we'll be back with more Facebook Live interviews. Make sure to tune in.